Oh my gosh.
Give me your hand.
I'm sorry, Dad.
I'm sorry for the late upload. I've really been trying to make sure that I'm in the right headspace before I had recorded my review. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Sister Wives, Season 19, Episode 24. I've really been trying to avoid recording this episode, I think, because I didn't want to trigger my own grief. But then finally, I think I'm in a space where I can watch it. Because grief is a monster that no one can truly conquer. Someone once said to me that grief is love that is unspent. Grief is love that you were yet to give the person who's passed away. So I truly understand that from a theoretical aspect and from an emotional aspect, but it's a bit difficult to sort of bring the two together at times. Anyway, so we have Janelle. Janelle has returned to North Carolina. She's with Maddie and Maddie's husband Caleb and their children. And so she was tearful when she spoke about, Garrison's birthday. It really broke my heart because it's going to be hard for her. It's going to be hard given the fact that she was trying to get in touch with him just a couple of hours after he passed away. So I get where she's coming from. Besides that, she carried this child and she gave birth to it. So she will have emotional attachment to the child and she will feel a level of loss that we can never truly understand. So they were trying to plan his funeral. They said they were taking him to Wyoming because that's where the family comes from. That's where their roots are. And so they feel this is the best thing for him. And Janelle says, she doesn't want to be cremated like Garrison. She wants to be buried, and she wants to be buried next to her son, which means that all her other children most likely are going to end up saying we want to be buried close to our mom, and everybody's going to end up going back to Wyoming once they're deceased. Anyway, I love that she has her grandchildren because children are innocent. They don't understand what's going on. So they're going to keep her busy. They're going to distract her mind from constantly wandering off. Because with Savannah's a bit older. So Savannah might be in her own thoughts and might sort of lose sight of her mom struggling. So having the grandchildren there, I get where Janelle is coming from. And I'm happy that she has, Maddie and Caleb to sort of help her navigate through this, which is really sad that Madison has really had to grow up and be, and I know she's an adult with children, but she's had to grow up and sort of be her mother's companion and help her mother navigate some of the challenges in life because her dad has sort of abandoned his post. I'm sorry, I don't mean to, bring him down. Anyway, we have Christine and David, and they are having a conversation. Christine is devastated. Christine raised these children when Janelle was at work, when Mary was at work. So she has a bond with these children, a motherly bond with them that some might not sort of be able to relate to. And she says, she didn't speak to him often, and she sort of feels bad for not speaking to him often. She questions whether they did every single thing under the sun. You then have David sort of bring up that his wife also sadly took her own life, and I hope he spoke to his children before he started talking about it on camera because I don't know how they'd feel about it, but he is devastated. You can see that he still sort of carries that grief from the loss, and I love that he said to Christine, I am here, I'm going to be beside you, I'm going to help you navigate. And it's a totally different experience when you compare that to Robin and Cody in last week's episode, how you can see that this man understands his wife is grieving. Yes, she didn't give birth to this child. Yes, biologically this child is not hers, but he is her child because she raised him from a baby to a man. So it was nice to see Christine have the support that she had from David. I love that for her. I think David is amazing. I think he knows he's able to sort of read the room. He's able to understand his place and is able to pick up the slack when it's needed. So I love that he was able to do that for Christine and sort of help her because you can see she's heartbroken when she talks about Truly and Garrison's bond. She starts to cry. They show us a picture of the wedding with all the children there. So you had, I think the only child of the OG 13 who wasn't there was Gwendolyn. Otherwise, everybody else was at Christine's wedding, which was really nice because at least they got to bond and they were able to spend time together. Because Janelle said it, I think Mary said it before, and Christine, that they raised these children as siblings. They didn't raise them as half siblings, but they raised them as siblings. And so they have the sibling bond that unless you know that this is their mother, you wouldn't be able to tell who their biological mom is. So it's really sad, and I really feel sorry for the family. So you have Mary back in Parawan. She's with Jen and she's just sitting down to have a conversation because Jen seems to be the closest person to Mary. And so Mary and Jen get into this conversation about Garrison, and Mary reveals that, when she found out he'd passed away, obviously she rang Jen because that's the only person that's closest to her. That's the only person that she could talk to, because obviously, she would have spoken to her mom because Mary and her mom were very close, but she's now late. And she reveals that apparently when she phoned Jen to say this is what has happened, Jen just told her, get some food and go to Janelle's house. And I get where she's coming from, that her mind had shut down, because at times you go into self-protection mode, or you just become so frazzled that you can't even remember your own name. And so the fact that her friend told her what to do and she didn't question it and just went ahead and did that, and she's still worried and concerned about Janelle, shows you that these women, yes, they didn't get along, yes, they had their issues, but when it came to family, they always prioritized family over everything else, which I really love. It's hard to see the OG3. Every time they talk about Garrison, tears are just welling in their eyes. They're just crying. And it's really sad because this is a child they all raised. This is a child that grew up right underneath them. And so the idea that is no longer there, I get where they're coming from. They have memories that they've shared with this person that we as viewers have not seen. So to hear Mary talk about him is really sad. I hope it provides healing for the family, because she said, it took Garrison passing away for the family to come together. While he was here, people were fighting, and suddenly we realized that it's not worth fighting. And so hopefully they find peace as a family. Hopefully they find peace and they're able to move on. You have Christine and David. David is doing his best to keep his wife afloat. That's what he seems to be doing. He's doing his best to make sure Christine is still able to stand up, because Christine, you can tell every time she speaks about him, just like Mary and Janelle, she wants to cry. And so they do speak about the fact that Garrison had created this project for Truly, where he had started a little garden. They planted a tree in his honor in their yard. And it's really sweet that David at times tries to relieve the tension by sort of laughing and joking. And I love what he said when he said, feel the emotions as they come. That's the best advice you can give to anyone who's grieving, that if you want to cry, cry. If you want to shout, shout. If you want to sleep, whatever you feel like doing, do it. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to release this tension. And if you don't, it will definitely be an anchor around your neck and bring you down. So I love that he's there for his wife and is very supportive, and is just making sure that she's able to sort of continue walking, because at the end of the day, he has walked down this road. He knows how hard it is. Yes, the experience is totally different, but he's able to sort of just hold her hand and be there and be the safe space that she needs. So in episode 23, when we watched Cody talking about he wants to have this pilgrimage where he takes, Garrison home. He wants to take him home. He wants to take him to rest where the rest of his family is buried, blah, blah, blah. What I expected was Cody was going to get into the car with all the other, family members, those that are still in Flagstaff, and they all meet up and we see them all go to bury Garrison. So the idea that we get to see Cody and his family, not, he's the OG3's children, but his and his wife's family, as he refers to them, sort of having them walk around Cody and him showing them signs that he sold, and him getting them to meet people and then sitting down to watch this concert. to me left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. I am not saying he should have been crying every single moment, but I don't think this was the time or the space to do that, given how he spoke about this pilgrimage, how important it was for him as a father to take his son home, because it seemed more like, he and his family were there on a holiday and then had to take a detour to go and bury Garrison. That's the impression that I got. Don't get me wrong. I don't know how he feels. I am talking about what I saw on camera. That's the impression that I got, because we barely got to speak up, to see them sort of speak about him. And the times that his wife was speaking about him, about Garrison and the burial, she was saying, oh, it's going to be hard on Cody. And it's like, yes, it's going to be hard on Cody. That's his son. But still, what about the person that is passed? Can we not say anything about him? Can we not do anything to sort of commemorate, his passing, instead of you going around town, getting into this carriage, going and buying ice creams for your children? This is not the time or the space. This is not the time or the space. And given how toxic their relationship with Garrison was towards the end, I wish they had time to sort of self-reflect and come up with something better. This wasn't it. This really wasn't it. We could have done without the bits of Cody, Robin, and their children. I'm sorry. You have Janelle go and help Savannah pack, because Savannah has decided to move to North Carolina. I think she was going to stay in Flagstaff because of her brothers, because she had Garrison there and she had Gabe. And so with Garrison passing away, that only left Gabe, which I assume Gabe, because he was struggling, the family must have told him to come down to North Carolina, which would have left Savannah on her own. So she's decided to move down with her mom. One thing, I've said this before, I'll always say this. One thing about Janelle's children is they're very sort of grounded. They're very articulate. They're not emotional in the sense that everything they say has to be, oh, my thing, oh, my. No, even Janelle said it, that she, Maddie, and Savannah are like her mom. They're very grounded people. They're not very expressive with their emotions. And even the boys, yes, they might become emotional, but still they can self-regulate. They can self-advocate. And this is one thing I love about Janelle's children. So they go... She then goes to the Humane Society with Savannah. The fact that she couldn't speak and she had to ask Savannah to speak for her. And Savannah, it's surprising that she was the youngest of the Brown 13, OG 13 at the time we met the family. So to see her stand up and sort of speak up for her mom, oh my God, it really broke my heart, because it was... it really broke my heart. It really broke my heart. That's all I can say. And so I love that they created this room in his memory. They had all these placards. They actually got one of the senior people to speak to Janelle and sort of show her around. And she was becoming emotional. It is hard. It is hard. I understand what Mary was saying, that it's hard. And I don't know how Janelle is coping with it. Because this is something you don't even wish on your worst enemy. The idea that someone would lose their child is hard. And so for Janelle to have to bear this and to sort of have to sort of continue to keep going is going to be difficult, because now she's going to worry about her other 5 kids. She's going to worry about her grandkids every time the phone rings. These are things that are most likely going to be going through her mind. So I really hope and pray that the family is going to heal from this and they're going to become the best version and the closer knit family. You get to see this memorial of Garrison with the OG 3 moms sort of talking about how caring he was, how compassionate, how empathetic. And then they're playing reels of him and his siblings and stuff. And it's really sad. I hope he's found peace. I hope he's really at peace. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 23. Bye guys.